Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video, and today we are going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing our first ever movie review. I know we've reviewed a few shows in the past. I am joined by my muchacho, KillSwitch, aka Hunter. How you doing today?
More awake than ever.
So, we actually just went to go see a movie, a bit of an older movie. What did we go see today?
We saw Pulp Fiction, and how old is that movie? Like, I'd say, I'm gonna guess mid-90s.
I think it's older. Oh no, you're right. So
Oh no, that's not mid-90s, that's late 90s.
1994?
Yeah, it's late 90s.
Hunter.
Yeah.
There's 10 years in the 90s. It's a decade.
Oh.
You're like smack dab in the middle of the 90s,
Yeah,
or
I'm not gonna
early
lie.
90s.
If that said 1950, I would have been like, she told you.
So, Pulp Fiction came out in 1994. It is a crime drama flick. But, so this is a movie that I've actually never got to see. And I know one of our local theaters, Harkins, which I know is in a lot of the world, they do this thing pretty much where they have a few different... They have like every Tuesday they'll play throwback movies, and they have this thing called the Moonlight Cinema, which is pretty much just an outside movie theater, and they play a bunch of old movies on it. So tonight they're playing Pulp Fiction. Me and this guy decided to see it. He had saw it prior. I've never seen it, so this was my first watch of it, and it did not disappoint. I heard a lot of good things. A lot of people saying it's one of like the best movies ever made. It's some of their favorite movies of all time. So I was, wanted to see what all the hype was about, and did not disappoint.
Even though I'm looking at, I didn't know that Quentin Tarantino actually played in it.
Yeah,
he was
Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Also, this is probably one of my favorite movie posters ever.
Oh yeah, no, the poster is really good.
It's very iconic. I don't know. I would love to have a poster of that. Not for the fact that there's a woman or whatever on. It's just.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm dead serious, bro. I don't find her attractive at all.
No, not really.
Yeah.
But it's a good poster. This video is going to be all over the place, kind of how the movie is, which I think that's kind of the coolest thing about this movie is there's a premise to it, but not really. You kind of just get to see a day in the life of all the characters, and all their storylines just collide in some way, where it's really, they keep upping the ante each time it switches to like a new character or a new scene, where it just gets weirder and weirder and crazier and crazier. And I think that's something that's really cool, because they just don't make movies like that anymore, where you're watching like, there's no way it gets crazier than this, and then it does. It just keeps escalating more and more and more. Which also, this is the first Quentin Tarantino movie I've ever seen, and I know he's regarded as like one of the greatest movie directors ever. A lot of people really love his movies, and all of his movies are held in very high regard. So I know I'd like to see more of his movies at some point.
Yeah, no, it was really good. Cause even I watched it the first time, and even I wasn't really able to keep track of everything. But cause it's been like a year gap since I've seen the first one, and I also saw that in theaters replaying. But even seeing it the second time, I actually kind of enjoyed it a little bit more, because there's a lot of stuff that I was able to catch on to, and I was even able to remember. Cause I literally only saw this movie once prior. I never went ahead and was like, wow, that movie's so good, I'm gonna go ahead and watch it again on my own time. I'm like, no, I'll go ahead and wait till I get like another proper opportunity to see it. But just even from a filmography standpoint, I thought it was really good. Like, even one thing I noticed on the part where they were dancing at that restaurant or whatever, you could literally hear their feet touching the ground. Like, it was
just the directing, all the camera angles was really, really good.
Not only that, but even the audio I noticed, like when What's-Her-Face was brushing her teeth and stuff, like you could tell that they had a camera right behind that wall. And it's just stuff like that where I'm really curious on how they filmed that type of stuff, because they just did so good. But even this movie had a lot of just cringe moments where like you're just like, God, Jesus Christ. Like, even it still caught me by surprise when he shot that one kid in the back of the car.
Oh yeah,
that caught me off guard a second time. I didn't even knew that was gonna happen.
Well, it's because I'm like, he's gonna shoot him, isn't he? And then he shot him all. I don't know. It's just when he shot him, I wasn't expecting it.
Exactly.
It was like accidental, which I guess that's one of them things the movie did really well with. There's just a lot of moments where you're like, oh, I didn't expect that, or what's gonna happen next, and it catches you by surprise.
It's not accidental. It's an act of God. Or a miracle.
Exactly.
The acting was super good. It was super well casted. Yeah. There are moments of it where it was funny. There are moments of it where it's like, what the fuck's going on? But that was a movie that had a decent bit of suspense on it, which I liked quite a bit.
Yeah, even it was weird seeing Samuel L. Jackson with hair.
Well, no, even like before they wash themselves down and stuff, you could literally see just like parts of brain and stuff are still stuck in his hair.
Yeah,
like, there was a lot of detail. Like,
exactly. No, because I think the coolest thing about it is just they don't make movies like that anymore. So getting to see stuff like that, because movies are just so, a lot of people put it where it's pretty much superhero movies kind of ruin film, where if it's not connected to some universe or something, nobody cares about, which is something where it's cool, because like Quentin Tarantino doesn't really do stuff like that, where most of his movies are standalone except for like Kill Bill. At least to my knowledge, most of them are standalone. I don't know all the movies he made. There's a lot of film directors that kind of stick to what their philosophies are, I guess you could say, on just films and how they should be made, where there's very few film directors left who aren't just going for the ooh, new Marvel movie, or ooh, new DC, or ooh, new Fast and Furious, or ooh, this could be the next Marvel or next big franchise. Stuff like that, where it's nice to get to go back and watch old movies like this and really appreciate them. And hopefully we'll get more movies like this in the future, which I don't think we'll ever get a movie quite like Pulp Fiction again, but just movies kind of in that realm where you just watch them and you know you're watching something really good. Something that where, you know, this came out 94, like 30 years ago almost, and it still holds up insanely well.
Well, not only that, but it's also a movie where, like, certain movies, it's kind of like the whole universe thing. You say some movies, it's like, wow, God, I can't wait for it to be another one or something. This movie, it's so good that you don't want another one.
Exactly.
It's like me, I'm not like, damn, why hasn't anyone made a Pulp Fiction 2? It's because, no, the movie did really good on its own. You can't really make a second one or even come close to making a second one of this movie. Even I think if Quentin Tarantino tried, he really couldn't make anything, like it, because even his his movies are very, very different. Like there's some, like let's say Michael Bay. You know for a fact if you watch a Michael Bay film,
you know what you're getting.
Yeah, you practically can never sleep through one, except me because I did it. But Quentin Tarantino, everything is just so different. He kind of really caters to the movie. He doesn't really cater to his past, films that he's done. Like, okay, let's go ahead and do the same exact thing in this one. He really could tell that he tries to swap it up, which. Yeah, I think that he's a great director. Probably, honestly, I'd argue probably my favorite.
So Vincent Vega and Jules Winfield are hitman with a penchant for philosophical discussions in this ultra-hit multi-strand crime movie. Their storyline is interwoven with those of their boss gangster Marcellus Wallace, his actress wife Mia, struggling boxer Butch Coolidge, master fixer Winston Wolfe, and a nervous pair of armed robbers, Pumpkin and Honey Bunny. That's a really good way of describing it.
Yeah, because just like me, even if you told me, because I was talking to my friend that I first saw this with, I'm like, if I were Fritzky, if I were to go ahead and describe what I watch, I couldn't. But even now that I've seen it a second time, I'm actually able to be like, okay, there is actually a theme and a premise to the movie. It's not really just, once you see it a second time, you're able to understand more of how, wow, this actually was really well done. It's not really all over the place. It is, but at the same time, it isn't. It's well put together.
Well, even I'll say, like, when I left this movie, I was like, what did I just watch? I was like, okay. I'm like, that was a really good movie. It didn't disappoint, but, I was able to follow the storylines along where, I fully acknowledge that I didn't look at the way the synopsis put it, where, you have the main characters, and then it kind of just all interweaves with all the other characters, but I'm like, I could follow along because ultimately all the characters' stories connect in one way or another. I think pretty much every single character interacts with the other for all the main characters at some point in the movie. Majority of them.
Well, that's where, one other thing that this movie does that's completely different is there's no predictable ending. There's not the good guys winning or anything like that. Like, this has an ending where it's like, I'm completely there's nothing I would have done to change that ending more. Yeah,
well, even something where kind of just you're not like, oh, I think we're nearing the ending. You can kind of tell when you're ending the near, but you're nearing the ending. And it kind of just ends. It's like, yep, that's the end of their day.
Yeah.
Moving on, which was really cool. I like the way that they did that.
Yeah, no, it was just very, from a story standpoint, it wasn't terribly hard to follow along, but you know, throughout all the stuff that goes on in the movie, it has a very satisfying ending. It's not something to be disappointed at. But honestly, what would you rate it out of 10?
Honestly, I'd say it's a solid 9 to 10. 9.5.
I'd easily rate it as a 10. There's not one thing that I would have changed about them. To me, that movie is perfect, honestly.
I'd say it's really good. Definitely, I want to see it again just so I can try and catch all the little stuff that I missed. But no, that's easily probably one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time, and I've seen it once. But alrighty, that is going to be all for today's video. I know it's a bit late, but that's besides the point. I'll see you guys again very soon. I'll have a link down below. Make sure to check him out. He's got some pretty good videos over on his channel. I'm out of here. Peace.